Get this bucket off my head. Here we go. What's up, guys? I want to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a bit special, a bit different, and is honestly something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. A lot of people throughout the years have asked me how I get my inspirations to travel and what causes me to learn about certain places, how I choose places that I eventually go. In 2 short words, Google Maps. I would like to believe for most travelers is the first initial inspiration. As technology has advanced, a lot of people have contributed in such a way that's allowed for virtual travel anywhere in the world. Through the detailed maps, the street views, and the 360 panoramas most photographers now upload. To make this video much more interesting, I've compiled a list of 10 random places I would love to visit, and I'm going to show you that journey through Google Maps and how I utilize Google Maps to visit a place I haven't been to that I most likely will visit later on. So I got my laptop popped open and ready to go on a virtual journey. So I got a new laptop within the past year, and one of the things I realized I can do now is I could do screen recording. Here is my island home of Oahu. I'm gonna zoom out and show you the beautiful islands of Hawaii. Now, I'll come over to the left and turn labels off, and you will see that all these stars will indicate all the places I want to see in Hawaii. This is not the end of it. I will zoom out, and as you can see, much of the world is filled up with Google locations of places I want to see. Number 1, we're gonna go to the Caucasus region of the world. Now, below Russia up here, change the view. We're gonna zoom into the country of Armenia. Now, I will say that Armenia is probably still considered one of the top most underrated countries for the adventurer. It's got beautiful mountains, beautiful terrain, it's got a beautiful lake, beautiful Orthodox churches in front of, amidst beautiful backdrops. And even the capital seems really interesting. To some extent, it kind of reminds me of Bucharest, and I absolutely love Bucharest. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna click this Street View guy, Google Earth man, Google Maps man, which honestly is like the inspiration of how I do all this. And zooming into street levels and 360 Panams, that is something I do on a daily basis. So we're gonna start off down here in the south. I set a star over here. We're gonna look at this. I mean, look how beautiful that is. You just do a 360 and you just show, like, this is a beautiful hike that I could someday once do and have this beautiful view. I'm gonna come back out, and there's a massive lake over here, Lake 7, and there's a view, a safe place I have here, which will show, look at that, and then Orthodox Church. Now, these are like dotted all over the country, and I believe it's like the icon of Armenia, and to be able to see that one day, I really look forward to that. So we got another mountain here I saved from an Instagrammer I follow from Armenia. She does like guides and tours, self-guided tours. There's it looks like a tour over here, and you got this beautiful terrain. Let's see, we'll do one more before I go to the capital. I'll do this one here. Oh man, yeah. Oh, look at this. You got like old ruins overlooking this little, like, looks like a gorge here. It's gorgeous. Corny alert. So now we'll go into, what's this over here? I don't know if I went here. Oh yeah, this is what I had to show that this is actually another one of the hikes that this Instagrammer I follow shared, and I just had to save it. I mean, look at this view. We got some people up here. Come into the capital. Now, a historical note, I'm a history nerd. There's some things I have to do before I go, and that's read and research history. Armenia is also known for the worst genocides in recent history. And one of the things you can see in the capital of Yerevan, hopefully I'm saying that right, is the monument to the genocide. I'm gonna click here in a random space. And you can see there's a monument commemorating all those who perished in that genocide. But when I noticed about the capital is that it has a bunch of beautiful viewpoints overlooking the city, and that's one thing I love, is a good viewpoint over the city, over any viewpoint anywhere. Here's another one. There's a viewpoint star I saved. It's like another monument. And here you got a beautiful view of the city. Look at the mountains in the back. That's just awesome. So going on to the next destination, I'm gonna take this off, come back to Google Earth. I'm gonna zoom all the way out. We're gonna go all the way to the edge of Asia. And close to Australia is a country offering a lot of culture. And that is the country of Timor-Leste, East Timor. Now, how do I know how to pronounce that? Several years ago, I had a huge desire to travel the lot of South America, including Central America. And one of my goals and ambitions was to live in Brazil. And because I had that desire, I thought it was important to learn Brazilian Portuguese. I spent about 1.5 years learning Portuguese. And within that studying, I wanted to learn what the Portuguese-speaking countries of the world were. It's Portugal, it's Angola, it's Brazil, and one other place way far out on the other side of the world. And just that fact alone really just brought my attention to this small country. It consists of this large swath of land on this big island that's bordered with Indonesia to its west. And then further west is an exclave that's part of East Timor. Now, following several Instagrammers included in their main Instagram travel account, you'll find that it's filled with beautiful mountains, endless waterfalls. You can tell it's really off the beaten path because a lot of places aren't really labeled. A lot of these waterfalls I find on Instagram are not really labeled on Google Maps, which makes it that much more interesting. Waterfalls, East Timor. I don't know the names of some of these, but they're popped up on my list and I've saved them, and it's something I would like to experience in East Timor. In Brazil, you have Christ the Redeemer, but also in this Portuguese-speaking country, you have Cristo Rei. I think they say that right. And they have their own Christ the Redeemer. And what it overlooks, it's perched up on a mountain, and it overlooks the sea, this local beach, and Aotearoa Island. Aotearoa Island is off the coast of the capital Dili and offers yet another adventurous paradise within an adventurous paradise. So, look at that. It's super awesome. Eu falo pouco português. It's a bit rusty, but you know, it's something I would love to do at some point in time in my travels, is utilize some of my Portuguese in this country. Number 3 is within this region of the world, 2 islands I would love to visit. Here's Australia, here's New Zealand. Okay, so maybe this should be a list of 11, but one of these is Norfolk Island. I automatically zoomed in by accident. And what I find interesting about this is that it's not only sort of considered a Pacific island, and it's not just a part of Australia. There are speakers on the island that speak what's called Norfolk, or a Norfolk language. It's kind of like a dialect of Tahitian and Pitcairn. They speak like a dialect of Pitcairn and Tahitian. And it's a language that's slowly dying out, but it's something that really interests me, that there's a small island that's part of Australia that really doesn't have much to do with Greater Australia. It's kind of its own thing. You got some beautiful views, and the trees are beautiful. Right here we have Lord Howe Island. Yeah, beautiful mountains, flat land, and then these 2 beautiful mountains that just pop up out of the land. Kind of reminds me of St. Lucia. So I have a working holiday for Australia, and one thing I like to try to do is visit both of these islands while I'm there. So number 4, I'm gonna come all the way to a cold part of the world. Now, here's Denmark, and it's not Denmark that is on the list. There's that joke, it's like, oh yeah, Iceland is green and Greenland is ice. One of the places is Greenland that I want to see. I've been wanting to visit Greenland for years. And if you come into the capital, I don't even know where it is because this is so huge. So I am going to cheat and type it in. Nuuk, if I'm saying that correctly. There really isn't much in Nuuk. And if you come into a street view, I'm just going to select a place. It's really nothing. It's a small port city, and it's encompassed by nothing but mountains and snow. But what makes this really interesting is that it does have a unique culture. You have a Greenland National Museum and Archives that shows a bit of a lot of the culture of Greenland. And what you can do outside of Greenland, it looks like from what these blue dots show, is that you can venture a bit inland and have a bit of a tour, part of a tour of what this landmass has to offer. The next one on my list, I come over to Portugal. Now, it's not just Portugal I want to visit. Part of Portugal are these set of islands, this island chain. And what astounds me, first of all, is that it's kind of like Hawaii in the fact that these islands are created through volcanoes. It's a volcanic island chain, just like here. You know, you go to each of these islands and the terrain just looks absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just gonna click on here again and click on A360. And I mean, it looks like Hawaii. It's very green, very lush, and the rock formations and what goes into the sea just looks absolutely gorgeous. Zoom into another one on another island. It looks like a hike. Look at the views of the sea. I mean, look at that, it's crazy. And one additional place that I keep going back to whenever I do Google Maps is this island here in the corner. Bam, watch this. Look at that. It's just a complete volcano rim and crater. These are the Azores Islands, Azores, Ilhas Azores, Azores, I'm saying that correctly. India has been on my list for years. It's one of those countries where I wouldn't necessarily have a plan. I literally just go, I do my research on the culture, a lot of historic sites, and I just go, spend a lot of time, and just deal with the beautiful chaos that India has to offer. An entity of India are these islands over here in the Andaman Sea. Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, the reason why I discovered this island chain is because of the Sentinelese culture, the Sentinelese people. And they're known to be the last remaining people that basically like a time travel machine going back into the days of tribes and spears. And there was several headlines on the news that outsiders have gone in and been murdered. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily I want to go and travel and experience the culture and kind of disrupt that. That's not what I want to do. I want to come here because it's just a part of India that's not in India. And the scenery that this island chain has to offer is just beautiful, while it's also set in the backdrop of Indian culture. We'll go here and we'll come to the south. And look at that. I mean, it's just beautiful. Now, from what I heard, with what I read several years ago, in order to come here, you have to apply for like a visa, a permit, which makes it that much more exciting. Things may have changed, but regardless of the case, it would be an absolute pleasure and honor to make the time and take the time to go here too. So the next one on my list, come way across to Africa. On the African continent, I'm gonna come to Morocco. Now, it's not Morocco that's on my list. It's very confusing of the politics of what this part of the world is, what this country or territory. Western Sahara used to be a colony of the Spanish Empire, or was probably, I think it was the last remnant of the Spanish Empire. Western Sahara is a very interesting place. I want to say it's a bit volatile, as there's I would say a separatist group or just a political entity within Western Sahara that wants this, has been trying to be recognized to separate from Morocco, which claims Western Sahara. It's the Polisario Polisario Front. And if you look at Western Sahara, it's split in two. And there literally is a border between the Moroccan claimed Western Sahara and the Polisario claimed part of Western Sahara. And what's interesting is that Western Sahara has a no man's land. And basically what it implies, it's no man's land. There's nothing. It's basically you're on your own. If you cross from Western Sahara through this front into like Mauritania, for example, it's like barren. It's just endless landscape of nothing. And I've seen travelers go through this, and it just seems really interesting, just something unique to experience. And that's something I want to experience. But in going to Western Sahara, there are so many things I would like to experience. You know, there's these beautiful coastal cities that used to be part of the Spanish Empire that are, you know, is unique to visit. There's an ATM, which is super random. I think it would be very unique because you have the swath of Morocco and the tourism that comes with Morocco, and then you got this separate part of Morocco that's not Morocco but is Morocco. Now, it's very confusing to try to explain this, but from what I understand, the Netherlands Antilles used to be a part of the Netherlands that was in the Caribbean, which broke up. Aruba became its own entity, Curaçao became its own entity, and St. Martin became its own entity. Curaçao, Aruba, and St. Martin's up here. What changed is it became the Caribbean Netherlands, and it consists of Bonaire over here, Saint Eustatius, it's basically this island, and an island called Saba. Saba is basically, it's just a rock in the Caribbean. And what's interesting about this rock is that, you know, you arrive, you know, by, I don't even know if there's an airport. Let's just say there is. Basically, it's just a rock that goes straight up into the sky. And what's interesting about it is that the cities are kind of just like they were built along, you know, steep mountains and, you know, sharp drops. And it's just amazing, like just how this island looks and how it was built upon. So look at that. I mean, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So English, of course, is spoken, but it looks like Dutch is also spoken in Saba, as in, you know, most of the Caribbean Netherlands countries. Aruba, Curaçao, they speak Papiamento, which is interesting because it's a mashup of languages. Saba is just one of those places. It's, you know, way off the grid. You know, you have St. Martin here, but you have the ability to have an experience on a rock island. South Africa is definitely, it's been on my list for years because I met so many really incredibly friendly South Africans who tell me that I should visit, that is so much to do, so much to experience. But if you look at South Africa, you'll find that there are two countries within South Africa. Eswatini, which used to be Swaziland, and this country of Lesotho, if I'm saying that correctly. What takes me away with Lesotho is that not only is it a country within South Africa, but the terrain looks unbelievable. The mountains within Lesotho, it just looks unbelievable. If you zoom in, you'll find that within the country is this beautiful, beautiful waterfall within this gorge amongst the mountains in the highlands of Lesotho. One thing I did just when I learned about this country a bit more is just doing a street view of one of the main highways. And I mean, it's super random, but I mean, it just looks awesome. Like these rolling hills, these small villages you drive in. And I just think it would make for a great trip within a trip if, you know, when I find myself in South Africa. Here's the capital here. The bustling capital of Lesotho. Zoom in. And of course, amongst like any African capital, it's bustling, it's busy. And coming from New York, I'm a city boy. These are things I enjoy in my travels too. Last but not least is probably no surprise to most people, as it's popped up on many people's radars thanks to Instagram and Pinterest and all these advertised posts in the world on Facebook. the Faroe Islands. The Faroe Islands is nothing short of breathtaking. The terrain of the Faroe Islands doesn't even seem like it's of Earth. If you zoom in to anywhere on Google Earth, you'll find that the rock formations and the landscape is just astounding. And zoom into another street, and I mean, look at that. This is the capital. I'm not going to try to say it because I'm going to embarrass myself. Well, okay, I'm just going to do it anyway. Tornshaven? Somebody correct me, please. Zoom into the capital. It's very quaint, very small, quiet, reflecting most likely the entire island chain. Just the way they built their roads here is amazing. Like they've made their road system just parallel to how the terrain works in the Faroe Islands, or how the terrain naturally is. And of course, there's some seriously picturesque places you have to visit. Some of the stars I have saved here reflect some of them. Like this place I've seen on many photographers' Instagrams. Let's see, what's the next one? Absolute must see. I'm gonna go here. Just look at that, it's insane. And do one more, because I know this video can be, it's already like 30 minutes long, but I just can't help. This is something I enjoy doing. This last one. It looks like a hike these people are on, and it's just an immediate drop into the sea. Look at that rock formation. Like, it's just insane. People walking. I mean, there are no words to describe how amazing it would be to have the opportunity to visit the Faroe Islands for maybe like several weeks. I would presume it's pretty expensive to travel, but I would say that every dollar and dime and effort to go would be absolutely worth it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's pretty long. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to show how I do and how I understand places better, and how I research and learn to eventually go at some point, and where my travels begin, and it's right here. If you enjoyed this video, want to add some more of your places you like to visit, have comments of the places I've shown in this video, please comment down below. Other than that, to wrap it up, once the travels begin, the voyage never ends.